I'm going to show you how I created the Workout Wednesday week 47, the high level dashboard with explained data. So looking at this dashboard, we have sales by quarter, this year versus last year, and sales by order ID. And the second dashboard is looking at the explained data for this particular point over here. And it's just a different dashboard. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create those three sheets that are on there. So first thing is option drag or right click and drag order date, and we're going to set this at the quarter level. And then we're going to add sales, and then we're also going to add subcategory. And then we're just going to right click and edit this axis, and we're going to have it independent and don't include 0. Hit OK, and then hit entire view. It looks awful at the minute, but we'll clean it up when it gets to the dashboard. Okay, so sheet number 2 is our subcategory, and this time we want to get this year and last year sales. So for this year, I'm going to use if last equals 0, then bring me back the sum of sales. End. Hit OK. And then I'm just going to right click and duplicate that and change this to if last equals 1, then sum of sales. And then hit OK. So we're just going to add both of those to our axes, and as you can see, it's looking at the minute it's looking at table down, so it's looking at the last subcategory and the second to last subcategory. But what we actually want is we want to add year of order date on the detail. Now I'm going to change my table calculation to be, instead of subcategory, by year, and also the same on this one. So edit table calculation by year instead of subcategory. So now when you hover over, this one will say 2019 and this one is 2018. So we're just going to create a dual axis, and we're going to change the colors here. So we want that one as last as black and this as blue. Hit OK. And then we're going to change this one back to a bar, and then we're going to change this one to a Gantt, not a pie, sorry, a Gantt. And we're going to up the size so it's nice and big, and we're going to hit entire view. And the last thing is to right click and always synchronize your axes. So we're just going to unshow the header and remove this up here. So second sheet done. Now the final sheet again is subcategory on here, sales across the bottom, split down by order ID. Hit entire view. Now it doesn't look quite the same, so I'm going to change this to a circle, and then we're going to have the random function in, which is a random function that you can only type in. So now I'm going to edit this axis again, and I'm going to go independent, and it doesn't include 0. Hit OK. And then again, untick the show header, and then we're just going to do some generic formatting. So if we go to workbook, we can turn off these and also turn off the 0 lines too. Makes it look a little bit tidier, and we're going to reduce the opacity down. So now it's time for the dashboard. So we're going to put it in a horizontal container. So we're going to have sheet 1, sheet 2, and sheet 3. So the one thing that's missing off sheet 3 is our reference line. So if I right click on the sales down here, add reference line, we want the average per cell. So it's an average per subcategory. Change this to a dashed line and remove the label and change it to black so you can see the dashed line a little bit better. Untick the show header, untick this, hide field labels, hide field labels. Now what we can do is we can just make it look a little bit nicer. So we don't need this header because they're all in the same direction. and we also don't need this one as well. But what we do need is we need those lines back. So I'm going to go to our borders. I'm just going to make the row borders a little bit bigger and get rid of those column dividers on all sheets. So now, let me make sure I do tick none. We've still got some gaps in between, so I'm just going to remove the padding on here. So get rid of the padding on this sheet, on this one, and then finally on this one. And I'm also going to just unhide that, hide that header. So now we've got it all where we want it. And finally, what we want to do is look at the explain data. So if I right click on this mark and go to explain data, you can see it comes up with Tableau's machine learning, and we have two possible options, possible explanations. We have category, so the average sales by category, and then we also have the average value of records. So what we can do here is we can export these into new sheets. So now, once I've done that, we can create a new dashboard with our two sheets inside of it. And then what we can do from here is make sure that they're in the right order. And then if you go to worksheet, show caption, and the same on the other one. So worksheet, show caption. And then we close this down here. And then we just make this a little bit thinner. So now we have our average sales, and then we also have our other explain data, so the average sales for each category. And that's how you do Workout Wednesday this week.